I offered two different people $10,000 of free Bitcoin. One of them stopped responding to me, and the other never responded in the first place. Here is what we can learn about Bitcoin from that experience. Okay, so it all started when I sold Baumgar Corporation in 2014. I had this idea, but I ultimately never executed on this idea because of just, anyway, I'll walk through my logic. I never executed on it because I never felt financially secure with fiat currency, even though I had stocks and I had bonds and I had US dollar cash and I had, strategic reserves. I had all this different stuff. I never felt financially secure in the old fiat financial system. I just felt like the money could disappear. And it felt like something wasn't right. So fast forward, ultimately, from 2014 to 2024, and Bitcoin in late 2024 crossed $100,000 for the first time. And at that point, I revisited this idea I had had 10 years before that I was like, I actually do feel financial freedom with Bitcoin. I feel financially secure with Bitcoin in a way I never did with fiat currency. And I was like, I'm going to revisit this idea. Okay, so here was the idea. The idea, I was like, look, some people think, humanity, is lost and we have all these issues, and, in many ways we do. But there are times when people do nice things for other people for which there is no incentive whatsoever for what they did. And so I had this idea. I was like, okay, I'm going to think back through. First of all, there's thousands of people that have done nice things for me, mentored me, coached me, helped me on my career, helped me in my personal life. I mean, just a million things. So I have many thousands of people to be thankful for. But for this specifically, I was like, okay, I'm going to think up a couple of scenarios of people I can remember in my life that did something nice for me, went out of their way to do something nice for me, that met a bunch of criteria. And here was some of the criteria. There was way more criteria, but here's just some of the criteria. So one, there had to be nothing in it for them whatsoever, meaning no incentive whatsoever to do something nice for me. Some of the criteria meant that they could not work for a church or a school or any organization where being nice to people was part of the job, or being nice to me was part of the job. They had to be older than I was. The circumstances had to take place before I started Baumgar Corporation. Basically, when I was a nobody, they were older than I was. There was no incentive whatsoever for them to be nice to me. I didn't work for them. They didn't work for me. They didn't work for a church. They didn't work for a school. They were not a family member. They were not a family friend. They knew me, but had no reason to ever believe that they would know me in the future, and where they had no reason to believe whatsoever that they would ever, that I would ever be in a position to be able to be beneficial in any way to them. So I had a bunch more criteria, but it resulted in narrowing, many thousands of people down to two. There was two specific scenarios I could think of in my life where I'm like, okay, this is a time somebody went out of their way to do something nice for me with no incentive whatsoever. I can't think of an incentive. I've run the scenarios through every conceivable filter to make sure that there's no possible scenario that they would have benefited from this or whatever. And it was really sort of the thought process is, if you could zoom in on a point in humanity and make a case that many times humans are good deep down inside. Now, we're fallen, we're sinful creatures, original sin, total depravity, all of that. But there are times you can zoom in and people do nice things for other people when there's no incentive. Now, again, I'm not talking about like a customer relationship. Yeah, you walk in, you order a coffee in a coffee shop, they're nice to you. But you're a customer. You walk down the street, people open doors for each other. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about somebody who really went out of their way to do something nice for me with no incentive whatsoever. Okay, so I was able to think of two scenarios that passed the sort of the filter of a gazillion things that had to pass to eliminate any possibility that there was anything in it for them, or that they were doing, going out of their way to do something nice for me. It eliminated family, friends, it eliminated acquaintances, it eliminated anybody that was likely to still know me a year or two later. Because again, if you know somebody, or if you expect to still know them or run in the same circles, presumably there's some incentive for people to be nice to each other, I guess. But anyway, I thought of two scenarios. So I went, and again, it had to be somebody that I hadn't seen for at least 25 or 30 years. It had to be somebody for multiple decades that I had no communication with whatsoever, that didn't live in Mississippi anymore, There was a bunch of criteria. There was like a gazillion criteria. But anyway, I thought of two situations. And so I reached out to these individuals. One of them, I was able to find a cell phone number online that I verified was accurate. And the other, I found an active Facebook profile that they were clearly checking regularly and updating. So in the first case with the cell phone number, initially I texted them and called and left a voicemail just to verify that it was still them. They responded. They were like, "Oh yeah, I remember you. Like that was like 30 years ago. Like, how are you doing?" and all that sort of stuff. And, so it was great. And it was, and I was like, "Oh yeah." And I was like, "Okay, well, I'm going to send you a video, with an idea, I wanted to run by you." So anyway, I recorded them a short video that explained, what I was doing, and I was offering them $10,000 of free Bitcoin. And as a thank you for just being a nice human being, I don't know if they're nice human beings in general, but they were then at that time, but hadn't seen them in 30 years. So I have no idea now, but I was like, this is what I'm doing. And in the video, just so they knew it was not a scam and it was not AI generated, I described the situation and how we knew each other and the situation and all of that. And I included enough detail that there's no possible way anyone other than me and them would have remembered that time or that incident. And I included, in the video, landmarks so that it's not AI generated, because I'm like, here's where I am. You can see, where I am behind me. Like this is, et cetera, et cetera. So just as authentic as you could possibly be, zero chance that they would think it was an AI fake or a deep fake or, a scam. Like I just eliminated all those possibilities. And I even told them, I was like, I'll send you $10,000 of free Bitcoin. If you're not into Bitcoin, that's fine. Find someone you trust. Tell them to help you set up either a Coinbase account or a River account, but get someone you trust. Not me. I'm not telling you to do anything. I'm saying go to someone you trust, and all I need is your Bitcoin public address, so I can just send you. It's like an email address. I can just send it to you. And I was like, the person you trust will tell you that there's nothing scammy about giving someone your Bitcoin public address. That's just how you receive Bitcoin. It's not how you send it. It's just how you receive it. Send me that. I'll send you $10,000 of free Bitcoin. So as soon as I uploaded that video, the person stopped responding to me. Like we had been having a whole text conversation, but as soon as I uploaded the video, they stopped responding. I followed up. I called. I left a voicemail. I sent a few over the next month or two. I sent a few follow-up text messages, and nothing. Like they just completely went dark. And then the other individual, who was very active on Facebook in general, never responded. I mean, my messages were going through on Facebook. They appeared to be getting them. They were active on Facebook, but for whatever reason, they never engaged at all. They just never responded at all. And after a couple Facebook messages, I uploaded a video unique to them. So I did two separate videos for the two separate people, and uploaded that and posted it. And they, again, no response. So ultimately, I was not planning to tell like my kids about this, or I was certainly not planning to do a video about it, because I expected to be successful. If I had successfully given away $10,000 of free Bitcoin to two different people, or even one of them, I would not be doing a video about it. That would be super tacky. So the only reason I'm doing a video about it is because I failed. Like I failed to give them free Bitcoin because they went dark on me. So I brought this up. I decided after this had failed, I had failed to successfully give away free Bitcoin to these two individuals, even with a recorded video, even with an explanation, all this sort of stuff. I brought it up at a family dinner and asked my kids what they thought. And it was interesting because the boys and the girls were completely split. So my wife and my daughter were like, doesn't surprise me. That's just super weird. Like giving people $10,000 of free Bitcoin, super weird. Not surprised they went dark on you. You should have just written them a nice handwritten thank you. And I was like, yeah, but a handwritten thank you, that didn't cost anything. Like what? That's like 5 minutes of my time. Like, no, I was like, I thought it would be way more meaningful to give $10,000 of free Bitcoin. That's what I thought. And I mean, that's a lot of Bitcoin for me. I don't have a ton of Bitcoin, because I've spent a ton of my financial assets trying to make the world a better way in a million different ways. So I can afford to give away $10,000 of free Bitcoin, but that's like a meaningful amount of Bitcoin. I don't have an unlimited amount of Bitcoin. And I was like, I thought giving Bitcoin away in an increment that was like really meaningful, like that's a lot of Bitcoin for me. I thought that would be way more meaningful than writing a handwritten note. My sons all agreed with me. The boys are all like, Dad, of course you would want $10,000 of free Bitcoin instead of a handwritten note. Of course, like, of course it makes all the sense in the world that you did what you did. But anyway, my wife and my daughter were like, you should have written a handwritten note. That would have been better. It's not about the Bitcoin or the cost. They're just like, that's what, humans are supposed to do when they're thankful for something. And I was like, yeah, but that seemed lame. Like, I wanted to do something that was really meaningful for what this person did that was meaningful 30 years ago. But anyway, so the boys all thought that giving people free Bitcoin was way more meaningful than a handwritten note. And the girls, which is my wife and daughter, all thought that a handwritten note was a lot more meaningful than somebody randomly showing up offering someone free Bitcoin. So what can we learn from this entire experience? One, I think in both cases, they saw the offer of free Bitcoin and thought, it's a scam. Like, why do I want Bitcoin? I just don't want to figure it out what it is. There's probably something weird or wonky. And even though I had, put a video with a detailed description of what I was doing and what to do. One second. Sorry, got some ice there. But I think the response was, this sounds scammy and I just don't want to be part of it. I'm just going to pass. They never told me they were passing. They just went dark. So I think what that tells us is we are very early in the adoption of Bitcoin. Most people, if you reached out and offered 10,000 US dollars, they would say yes, right? Because the US dollar is a known thing. But I'm not offering people US dollars. The moment I transfer it to them, they start losing value. Like, the reason I didn't do this in 2014 is I was like, it doesn't feel right. Like, I don't feel secure in my own financial freedom sitting on US dollars. And if I give $10,000 away to somebody, they're just going to start deteriorating the moment I give it to someone else, which is why I didn't do it 10 years ago. Now, if I had been into Bitcoin in 2014, I would have. But I didn't. And I don't know, back in 2014, it would have probably been like 10 Bitcoin or something instead of like 0.1 Bitcoin. But anyway, so I think what we can learn is Bitcoin offers a sense of financial freedom and real financial freedom in a way that fiat currency and the current financial system doesn't. It did for me, again, because I didn't do this in 2014 when I could have. Technically, in fiat terms, my net worth was higher back then. I had just sold the company. I had not spent a ton of money on politics and public policy and numerous efforts to make the world a better place and all that sort of stuff. So just from a strict Dave Ramsey perspective, I could afford to do this more in 2014 than I can now because I've spent a huge amount of my financial resources trying to make the world a better place in a million different ways. But I didn't do it back in 2014 because, again, I didn't feel financially secure in the fiat economy world. And I felt like, okay, you give the money away and it just starts losing value as soon as you give it. Like, it just didn't have the same effect. Versus now it feels like, yeah, if I give somebody Bitcoin, it costs me something, but I feel financially secure in the Bitcoin I still have. And I'm giving them a gift that keeps on giving instead of a gift that starts deteriorating like rotten bananas the moment they receive it and starts immediately losing value. So I think that's the first thing we can learn is that Bitcoin gives a sense of financial freedom when you own it yourself, and it gives a sense of gift that keeps on giving when you give it away or when you spend it or when you use it to make your life better in some way. Second thing, I think we are early. That's what we can learn. We are early in this journey of Bitcoin. We are so early that you can offer people $10,000 of free Bitcoin and they just stop responding because they're like, nah, I don't want to participate in that, whatever it is. Because that's how early we are, that people don't think it's a thing. Or I don't know. If Elon Musk, who's way more successful than I will ever be, if somebody that's wealthier than I am randomly reached out to me and offered me $10,000 of anything, I would say, yeah, I'll take it. Like, thanks. Like, that's great. Why not? But I think it's early. I think people don't take Bitcoin seriously, and therefore you can offer $10,000 of free Bitcoin and I guess they just pass. Also, I think a third thing we can learn, in addition to financial security, financial freedom, the gift that keeps on giving, and the fact that we're just early, I think another way that we know that we're early is people don't realize you can convert Bitcoin into anything. You can convert Bitcoin into any currency anywhere in the world. If you want to convert $10,000 of free Bitcoin into US dollars, you can. It's like instantaneous on River or Coinbase or anywhere else. Kraken on Gemini. Anywhere. Any of the major services, all, government sanctioned and approved in the United States. They're not scams. They're not FTX offshore stupidity from 2022. There are numerous legit places to convert $10,000 of free Bitcoin to any currency in the world. You can convert it to the Thai baht. You can convert it to euros. You can convert it to the Japanese yen, the Chinese yuan. You can do any of that stuff, like any currency in the world. So I think we are so early that people don't realize this is money. And if you want to convert it into a different kind of money, you can do that anywhere in the world at any time. And anywhere in the world, people will sell you stuff for Bitcoin. Anywhere in the world that you can find somebody that will sell you a car for Bitcoin, that will sell you a meal for Bitcoin. It's money. And I think we're just so early that people don't understand that. And you can offer them $10,000 of free Bitcoin and, they would pass. And I've wondered this before as well. I've wondered, I have never done this, but I've considered it before. So, if you were like tipping at a restaurant, and I've never done this because I don't want to make like waiters and waitresses like uncomfortable. But I have wondered before, if you're tipping at a restaurant and the waiter or waitress and you said, hey, you did a really good job. Would you like $100, this $100 bill as a tip? Or would you like 1% of one Bitcoin? Now, 1% of one Bitcoin is more than $1,000. But honestly, I think the vast majority of waiters and waitresses in the world would say between 1% of a Bitcoin and 100 US dollars, I'll take the 100 US dollars. People just don't realize we're so early in this journey of Bitcoin that people don't realize it's real money. And I think most people in the world, if you offered them 1% of one Bitcoin, or if you offered them $100, unless they pulled out a calculator and started really trying to figure it out, most people don't know what the price of, they don't know Bitcoin's $120,000 a coin right now. They don't know that, 1% of one Bitcoin is $1,200. Like, nobody knows that. Or not nobody, but a small percentage of the world. So most of the world, they think Bitcoin's something they can ignore, or they think it's a scam, or they think they just don't want to deal with it. And I think most of the world would take a $100 bill instead of 1% of one Bitcoin because they just don't know what 1% of one Bitcoin is. They don't know what it's worth. They don't know that they can convert it to any currency in the world. They don't know that. That's how early we are in this journey of Bitcoin. So last up, you're probably, somebody eventually is going to ask me, they're going to say, well, hey, if you didn't give $10,000 of free Bitcoin to so-and-so, can I have it? The answer is no. That offer expired and I gave away that Bitcoin $100 at a time in other ways. So after enough months had gone by that I was certain that those two individuals would never respond, never engage, I instead gave away that Bitcoin $100 at a time. Earlier this year, I did a matching thing where Bitcoin was $117,000 a coin, where I said, look, if you buy $117 of Bitcoin, I will give you 0.001 Bitcoin, which was worth $117. So I did basically a matching thing up to $117. So I gave away some of that Bitcoin that way. And the rest of it, I gave away $100 at a time to basically anybody who doesn't already own Bitcoin. So if you're wondering, can you have that $10,000 of Bitcoin, or in the case of two people, $20,000 total of Bitcoin? No, that Bitcoin's already been given away. And I continue to give away $100 of free Bitcoin to basically anybody who asks. If somebody messages me and it's a legit Facebook account, it's not like some hacked or scammed, stupid account. If it doesn't look fake, I send them a link to $100 of free Bitcoin on River. And I've done that for, a long time now, and I continue to do that. So even though that exact Bitcoin is no longer available because it's been given away, I continue to give away free Bitcoin to anybody who asks. And again, you can message me on Facebook Messenger. That way I can check and make sure the profile's real. Now and then I get these just scammy messages from, newly created profiles who only have one friend and the picture is a picture of a sunrise. And it's like, that's not a real profile. I'm sorry, you're not a real person. So, but any legit real person, I'll give away $100 of free Bitcoin to. And to these individuals, it was $10,000 of free Bitcoin each because I just had the idea and I just wanted to do it. And I'd had the idea a long time ago and I wanted to do it. But one went dark on me, the other never responded. So I just gave away the Bitcoin a little at a time to a bunch of other people, hundreds of other people. And that is the story. So I'll recap, even though I know my videos are way too long, and I know the recap is like super duplicative. But to recap, what can we learn? One, Bitcoin can offer financial freedom in a way that fiat can't, both to an individual as well as, secondly, as the gift that keeps on giving, which incentivizes people to share and to buy things and to gift Bitcoin to each other because it's a better money. Third, most people dismiss Bitcoin. You offer them $10,000 of Bitcoin and they, in this case, didn't even respond. Fourth, that Bitcoin, we are so early that people don't know you can convert it to any other currency anywhere in the world. You can buy anything with it. It is money and it is valuable. And probably fifth, I think, I haven't tried it, but fifth, I think most people, if you put them on the spot in the minute and said, hey, do you want 1% of one Bitcoin or a $100 bill? Most people would take a $100 bill because they just don't get Bitcoin enough to realize that, 1% of one Bitcoin is more than 12 times as much as a $100 bill. So there's a lot to learn there. How is this actionable? One, if you don't have any Bitcoin, I'll give you $100 of free Bitcoin. So that's actionable. Nobody who ever watches my videos should have zero Bitcoin because literally I will give it away $100 at a time for free. And all you got to do is message me from a legit Facebook account with the message River $100. River, R-I-V-E-R space $100. And I will send you $100 of free Bitcoin on River. Again, as long as you're like a legit account and your account does not look scammed or hacked or, fake or whatever. So that's the action item. The action item is if you don't own any Bitcoin, solve that. The second action item is buy as much Bitcoin as you can and sit on it for as long as conceivably possible because Bitcoin can give you financial freedom the same way it has given me financial freedom. Bitcoin can make you generous in the long term in a way that fiat currency won't because fiat currency encourages you to always feel like the sand is running through your fingers. And if you're holding assets where you feel like the sand is running through your fingers, it's hard to be generous with assets you feel like you're in the process of losing. And with fiat currency, which is government made up currency, currency by fiat, government dictate, which is what the word fiat means. If that is the currency you're using and that is how you're storing your wealth, the sand is running through your fingers. And it's hard to be generous when you feel like if I give away this, will I still have enough? And that's what fiat currency does for you. It's toxic. Bitcoin is better money that makes people more wealthy and more generous. And it's pretty amazing that a currency, a good currency, a stable, stable as in it goes up and down on its way up, meaning the value of that currency long term is up, not down. The purchasing power grows over time, even though it's volatile in the near term. It's amazing what that can do to the human psyche. And it's what humanity has needed for a very long time. And Bitcoin is that. And it has been transformative for me and it can be transformative for you. And I would not record this video if I didn't think it would help somebody. Obviously, if I had been successful giving away that Bitcoin, I would not have recorded a video because that would have been tacky. But I thought, what else can I record a video on? What else can I tell people about to encourage them to buy Bitcoin and to pursue real financial freedom and wealth with a currency that nobody can make more of out of thin air? And I was like, I'll just do this video. It's been long enough. It's been 9 months or whatever it was. It's been almost a year since Bitcoin crossed $100,000. I was like, all right, we're probably past the statute of limitation. Plus, I was unsuccessful in giving that free Bitcoin to those two individuals. So here's a video about it with the hope that it will impact somebody and that they will either take me up on my offer for $100, not $10,000, but $100 of free Bitcoin to anyone. And that they will pursue financial freedom themselves by accumulating as much Bitcoin as they can. And in the long term, as that Bitcoin appreciates in value, generously giving with it, as I do, to my church, Christian missionaries, and numerous other things. So have a great day. Let me know if I can help you. I really want to help you. I've been screaming from the rooftops about Bitcoin for many years now. I just want people to listen. I want them to benefit the way I have. And I hope you do. And I'm here for anything you need as your Sherpa on that journey. Have a good one.